Right, testing 1, 2, 3. All right, so I'm going to be explaining what we have so far of systems implemented into the GASP ALS project that we're trying to make. So what we're working right now is the ability for the character to be able to pick up any kind of weapon. So right now we have the pistol, we have the rifle, and the bow. Those are the 3 weapon types that we have so far. And the system that we're trying to working right now is to be able to make the character to be able to pick up the weapon, equip the weapon, holster it, and drop. So the pickup is the first action. Or equip, as you can call it. You can also holster by pressing Q. You can also equip the weapon. As you can see, you can also aim. And you can drop the weapon with the G by pressing the G button on the keyboard. You can also pick up the rifle. You can also drop the rifle. You can also holster. We don't have the specific animation for holstering the rifle yet, but that shouldn't be an issue right now, as we're just prototyping the code, making the prototype. That's not an issue right now. And you can also equip, as you can see, we have the bug right there. So we're going to try to fix that in the live stream. So as you can see, you can equip multiple weapons. If I pick up the pistol and if I try to pick up the rifle, the character is going to be able to, holster the pistol first automatically. So the code is going to check if the character already has any kind of weapon equipped first. And then if it has, then it's going to equip that weapon. And then only after that, we're going to be picking up the rifle. And that works the same way as picking up the rifle first and then picking up the weapon. The character is going to holster the rifle first and then be able to pick up the weapon, the pistol in this case. But now if you try to press G, of course right now it's working, but if you try to press G once again, maybe something here is not working. I'm gonna have to figure out. As you can see, when I press G again, it doesn't work. So we're gonna have to try to figure out on how to make and fix that bug, this annoying bug that we have today. So as you can see, we've made a separate graph for the weapon pickup, drop, holster logic. Hello, Persona. How are you doing? Vladi George said, can you show me the montage setup in the animation blueprint? Montage setup. Oh, okay. Montage setup. Which one? The montage setup? The animation montage that I play for the foot correction, or the montage that I play for holstering the weapon? If it is for holstering the pistol, I use this slot called arm right. And inside the animation blueprint, I use the complex layering system for playing the complex ALS layering system. So as you can see, if you go to the layer blending, we have the arm right in here. So I use that slot to play the holster montage. So as you can see, if I press F and press on, let me just simulate this first. And if I press Q, as you can see, that slot is going to be used, and it's going to override the overlay layer, which is going to basically allow us to play the holster montage only for the right arm of the character. And it doesn't really matter if you're aiming or doing any other action, the character is always going to be able to holster the weapon. And also equip. Let me just see if the equip action is also... Yeah, it's also on the slot assigned to the arm right of the character. And yeah, unequip and equip is also for both. All right, so the idea here is to make variables that would allow us to know if that specific type of weapon and specific type of reference of that weapon is currently holstered on the character's pocket, or is currently equipped on the weapon on the character's hands, or the pistol is just not either equipped, neither holstered, right? So it's pretty much important to know that information, because we're going to be equipping weapons and holstering them pretty much. I think we need to make that very, very refined to not cause bugs. So as you can see right here, it's pretty much good. So the idea here behind on how I'm going to be able to achieve this is by going to the weapon master. And as you can see here, we've created three Booleans, and each Boolean, as this one in here, they named differently. So this one is LastEquippedWeapon, to know if that specific weapon is the last one equipped. Because let's say if you want to equip a weapon, but you have two weapons holstered on the character, and if you press Q to equip a weapon, then we're going to make it so that if we're going to search for all the weapons, and the weapon that has this Boolean to be true as the last equipped weapon, we're going to pick that reference, and then we're going to be able to equip the weapon to the character's hand. I think that's the only faster and easiest way we can get the last equipped weapon reference. Now we also have the other Boolean called the weapon is holstered, so that it pretty much tells if that weapon is currently holstered on the character, and the other one is for knowing if that weapon is equipped on the character's hands. So I'm gonna have to go and recap everything that we've done here, just for the F, which serves for, so as soon as you press F, as you can see, we launch a box trace for objects. And what that really does, it allows us to, basically search for weapons. So as you can see right there, there is a squarish point in the world that shows that it identified the object that we want. So as you can see, if I press F again, it launches the box trace, and then it pretty much tells us the box. So the box trace is going to tell us the object, the type of object that we just hit. Monster mode, say hello, what's up? So I've created a specific single function for tracing the weapon. So as soon as you press F, this function here is executed, and then we firstly check for if the character is able to, pick up the weapon. I think this Boolean is always going to be true. As you can see, the default value is true. So the character is always going to have the ability to pick up the weapon. As you can see, I don't define this value anywhere else other than, I literally don't set this value to be on or off anywhere else in the code. So this value is just going to remain default to be true, so that we don't, in the future, maybe we can set this value to be, maybe we want to block the character ability to not be able to pick up the weapon. Maybe he's too much hurt, any other kind of state that could possibly prohibit the character to not be able to pick up the weapon. And we're going to do other checks. If the character is not falling, it's not doing any traversal action. And here you launch the box trace for objects so that we can identify our weapon. And then in here, if something hits, if you get a hit, if the box trace detects something, then you're going to promote the generic hit actor to a variable so that we can search for the right reference right after, which is going to be in the weapon identifier macro. So we're going to jump into here. We're going to use that promoted variable that we had in here. But before that, we're going to get all actors of a class to check for all actors. Available in the world, so that we're going to do a loop so that we can identify which specific reference, so that we can get the right reference based on the generic hit actor. And then in here, if the weapon is really found in the world, so all we're doing here is just to check and get the reference that we want, and to really check if that weapon is in the world. So if that weapon is in the world, we separate the references. Otherwise, if that it's not true, if the weapon is not in the world, we're going to cancel the weapon pickup. Cancel. So we're going to write cancel in case the weapon is not in the world. This is a very difficult and rare extreme situation of, it's very rare to not be, for the weapon to not be in the world. But in case there is something in the world, there's another type of object that it's, let's say you accidentally change the static mesh collision settings and change the object type to be weapon. If you try to go to that object and press F, as you can see, we're going to get the pickup weapon cancelled because the weapon is not in the world, or that object is not identifiable as weapon. So as you can see, this is the kind of protection that we have in order to be able to avoid bugs as this one right here. So let's just change that back, the static mesh back to, I think it was, let me just Ctrl Z so that we can revert the changes. The Ctrl Z again. I think it's better to set it to be word static. All right. So after we find the weapon, we separate the references. And in here we get the BP weapon master, and then we get the weapon tag. And this is just for knowing which weapon we currently are. And this enumerator is just for kernel for, wait. All right. So this enumerator here is going to tell us which type of weapon it is. And if it is a pistol, we're going to promote it to promote a different variable depending on, we're going to just basically separate the references so that we can have different references of each individual type of weapon type that we have, each individual type of weapon we have. So to make sure that the weapon class has the correct enumerator value, you can just go to, as you can see, the weapon master has the weapon tag. So you can basically choose which kind of weapon, which type of weapon that weapon is. So in case if you create a child blueprint class, and let's say, for example, this bow in here, we can open the full blueprint editor and you can go to the class defaults. And in here, the weapon tag, you can choose which type of weapon that is that you're trying to create. And in case of the bow child, we're going to select the bow. If that class has the default as the default value, then we're going to cancel it here. We're going to cancel the weapon pickup so that we can avoid bugs in the future. And then here we just basically play a basic animation for the feed correction. And then here we block the player movement input so that the even if the player presses a key to move the character, the character is not going to be able to move because we have this variable enabled. And we're just going to print a string in case this montage is interrupted for some reason, so that we know that it's interrupted. And if it is interrupted, then we have an issue because this montage cannot be interrupted, as we have these code to be executed in here. So in case that montage is interrupted, that's going to be an issue because we have to execute this code in order to follow the execution. Yeah, Nia said, hi, sorry if I bother. I was thinking to buy your Patreon, but I need to know, is it hard to implement projects like stealth kills and weapon system, etc. to my own GASP? It all depends on your skill level. Your skill level of implementation skill. If you're a beginner, then yes, I would say it's hard, but you can use the project to learn how things are done and probably be able to implement it on your own. But if you have any questions or you need help with implementing projects, then you can ask me. I'll be able to help. I was thinking to implement all the systems, like the ladder project into the GASP system, and then make them as a separate create a separate GASP project and then implement the ladder system into it, and then do that over again with other systems that we have, like such as swimming, ball system. I'm still trying to think if that's going to be worth it, if that's something that's going to be relatable. Monster Mode said, hi, how are you canceling the weapon pickup event? Pickup event. So when you press F, we go directly in here, as we don't have to host our weapon. If you want to cancel, I'm not currently. I think there is no way to cancel the weapon pickup event, as we just force the character to play this animation here. But as soon as, if you want to cancel the pickup event after the animation plays, you can, let's say for example something happens, and you can just disable this this Boolean here. The cancel weapon pickup event function. Which one that is? Which one? Is there a function to do that? I don't remember if it made it. Cancel weapon pickup event. Okay. So we basically play a print string just to notify you that the pickup weapon was cancelled. The text color, it's better to be red so that we get more alerted of what's going on. We disable the weapon cancelled Boolean variable. We reset the weapon location and the other calculations for calculating where the character calculations for the blend space pickup, and then we finally clear the pistols array. But this code is hold on. This code here is outdated, so I'm just going to delete this pistols, and I'm just going to delete this. And also delete this as well, because we're not using it right now. And pistol reference as well. And M41. All right. And then what you also should do is put this variable in here, which is the play pickup weapon animation, where we're going to just basically cancel it. The other type of variable that you should place in here is the block movement input. So we're going to just not block the player movement input in case it's blocked. We should also do, let me just see what else we can do. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's everything you gotta do. So in case in the future, if you have any problems with the cancel weapon pickup event, we can come back to it. We can come back to it and see and see what's going wrong. All right. FF2611 said, please add that you can shoot with the weapons. Yeah, we're going to add that later, because right now we're just working with the ability to pick up and drop and holster the weapon, and it's kind of a hustle right now. So as soon as you press F, after all this, we're going to play the pickup animation, which is going to enable us to go back to the state machine. So we're going to be able to pick up the weapon through a blend space. So this blend space is going to be executed. And on a specific time of this blend space, as you can see right here, we have an animation. And based on the time frame of that animation, if that animation goes to this time frame right here, 37 milliseconds, we're going to execute this pickup event, which is going to execute. This is going to trigger, and then it's going to trigger this event that is inside the sandbox character. And then it's going to trigger this event, which is going to basically update the pickup state. So basically we're going to just, identify which kind of weapon it is, and then turn off the physics simulation, blah, 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 and then finally attach the weapon to our hands and update some variables. I don't know what this is for. I think this is outdated. But now what we're gonna have to do is store 2 booleans, and one is going to be called IsHolstered, so just to know if the weapon is holstered, and the other one is to be able to know if the current weapon is equipped. And that's going to be a little bit tricky, but we're gonna have to to be able to try to do it on live. If I don't success on this attempt, then I'm gonna try to do it on my own. To say, to make things faster. So if you guys have any questions or any suggestions, you can comment down below. You can comment in the chat so that I can try to answer it ASAP. Yeah, I'm planning to implement an inventory system later. As there is in the Last of Us 2. I like that system very, very much. You can basically select, I mean, on the gamepad, you can use the D-pad keys, the left and right, to basically select which kind of weapon we want to equip. All right. How long have you been working in Unreal? 3 years. Yes, all the animations are included in the Patreon files. I mean, all the animations that you see on the live stream are included there. So instead of just getting check if the character has the rifle or check if the character has a weapon in hands. I guess I'm gonna try to make a macro out of this. So I'm just going to collapse to macro. So check, this macro is going to be called check weapon. Check if what? Check if character has weapon in hands. Check if all right. So as soon as you press F, we are going to promote a, after we identify which kind of weapon we want to pick up, I think we can promote the weapon tag to a variable. So here we can promote it to a variable and call this basically weapon to pick up. Those emojis are funny. Monster Mode said, how are you stopping the box trace from tracing the weapons from the holster? In my setup, if there is a weapon already in holster, it starts picking that weapon. Yeah, probably you're gonna have to check it out on your queue. I think it's not the box trace itself. You can let the box trace to just be where it is. Always identify weapons to pick up, but in the as soon as you press Q to holster that weapon, it's going to do its thing. Let me just see. As soon as yeah, the code is not working right now because I'm still working on it, but Q. So we have the pistol one holstered. So as soon as we equip that weapon, we have to set the collision back to its place. So in here, we get the reference, and then we have the holster pistol. So you're gonna have to make sure that you have this detach from component, set actual location, and it's here. This is very important to set up which is just set the collision enabled for the box and the skeletal mesh as soon as you equip the weapon to actually holster the weapon for the character. And then set the collision object type to be word dynamic, and this is very important as well. So make sure that the box and the skeletal mesh is both plugged into the target as it is right here. So you should be good after that, so that the trace cannot check for the weapons that are holstered. And it pretty much makes sense, because when you holster the weapon, you don't want to, you know, any trace to detect that you have a weapon holstered because you're not using it. Even if you're using it, it doesn't make sense to keep the channel to be weapon, right? So just make sure that that's in place. Ian said, I remember you did the active Ragdoll video. Do you think you could apply that to the enemy when get ran out of by an view? Yeah, that's totally possible. Yeah, that's totally possible. I was actually thinking about that we could make a video about it, but that requires a little bit of time. I think it's not that much difficult actually. If you have the vehicle, you could just do. Of course, you're probably gonna have the blueprint class. Usually in the Ragdoll, as soon as you could do you could do many things. You could place, let's say for example, you have that car, so you have the actor. So let's say for example, this is the car, right? And the car looks like a box. Let's imagine this is the car, and all you gotta do is just add a box collision to it, and then whatever comes in contact with this box, you can just enable the Ragdoll physics of the character. So you can choose collision presets to, you click on generate overlap events and click on the box, go to begin overlap, and then you're going to cast to CBP sandbox character. And then just simulate physics, get smash, get, no, not ABP, it's CBP. And then simulate physics. And then as soon as it gets in contact with it, you simulate. Of course, there is other things to do, but like set collision enabled to collision enabled. Yeah, that's happening because the Ragdoll it's not set up yet. But usually you're gonna have to check for its current velocity. So get velocity and all those, length, vector length. You're gonna have to check if the vector length is more than blah blah blah, more than 200. That means if the car speed is more than 200, then only then the box is going to be able to hit the character and simulate the physics. Or if you have the simulate physics function, you can just, out of the sandbox character, you can just call that function from here. So Ragdoll blah blah blah, so start Ragdoll. So it's very much simple. It's not very difficult to make. It just requires a little bit of time to set up, but once it's set up, it's very fun. Monster Mode said, you are moving object channel from weapon toward dynamic, so the box trace won't work. Yes, that's very much it. That's what I meant. So yeah, so as soon as if the weapon is holstered, as the weapon is on the object channel of word dynamic or word static, even if you press F, the box trace is not going to detect because it's on another channel. So here we're going to just create this macro. I think you can also, I think not many people know this, but you can actually change the colors of the macro. So if you click on the macro called has weapon in hands, you can change the instant color to black, for example. So it becomes black. All right. So before doing all of this, as you can see, if this reference is not valid, of course, I think it's going to be, we're going to receive a lot of errors as soon as you press F. As you can see right here. So we're going to receive the error reference to the ones that are not valid. And that's because as soon as we separate the references, only one of them are referenced, which means only one of them are going to be valid. Only one reference from all those three are going to be valid. And the code is going to throw up arrows to the ones that are not valid. So what we can do is basically do a check for each one of them. But I think this is not really necessary if you just get the weapon master and just plug this in here. But before that, we're going to really debug this. We really need to debug which weapon is currently holstered in the character's hand. And we're going to do that right now. So if you go to the function where we debug everything, as you can see, I've already created 3 print strings, extra ones. You just need to make sure that the key is different from each single print string, because otherwise it's going to override the same. Yeah, so you just gotta make sure that the key is different from each one. So as you can see, I start with the key 1, and it goes down to the last one, it's 14. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect them into here and just paste those in here. As we're working with references, it's very important for you to make sure that the reference is valid first. So what we're gonna do before reading the properties of that out of that reference, So you need to make sure that you firstly validate, because otherwise it's going to give you errors. Errors. Or Uyabir Birikunde. Hey mate, it's me again. Last time you gave me some tips, but here what I'm actually trying to do, just a simple thing. For normal weapons or new ones such as comes with packs, it's fine to use hand R socket and use the left hand for reload, etc. But when it comes to bolt action rifles, need to use right hand to bolt pull animation, so can't use the hand right socket. Be trying with the IK handgun, but it fails with aim offset. So I'm trying it with hand L socket. What I was asking is, what is the best way of doing it using the left hand for both actions, or is there any better way to do it? Yeah, I'm not going to really know how to answer that one. Great brother said, hi bro, remember? Yes, I think I remember. I think I do. Pistol, right. Pistol on hands. So in this case, as we have the valid references, I think it's a good practice to make a sequence first, so that we can execute multiple print strings. Like so. So this is for the rifle. Felipe Games said salve. Felipe. Dias Galvão said, good morning from Brazil. Just wanted to say I'm loving your live stream, bro. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm also from Brazil. Yep, I'm Brazilian. I think I learned English. When I was, well, I started learning English when I was 19 or 18 years old. Probably 17 years old. Right now I'm 24. So it's been, I think, 7 years since I'm learning English, or practicing English, but I don't practice every day. So this is for the rifle, this is for the pistol, and we're just missing for the bow. I think there's a better way to do this. It's a little bit messy, but yeah. So pistol, rifle, bow. All right, let's click on play to see what happened. What happens? Of course, they're not going to be valid because the references in the code is not validated yet until we press the letter F, so that we can validate those references. And in here, we're gonna have to get the BP weapon master and plug one directly in here just to test something real quick. As we're working with child references, we need to make sure that it works by just retrieving directly from them, from the parent. So let's see if this is going to work. So if I press F. All right. BP pistol and hands, false. This one is false. And the reason why it's false, so as soon as you press F, as you can see, it picks up the weapon. Oh, let me just see something real quick. Okay. This one, this BP weapon pistol on hands appears to be false, and that's because we haven't set the reference to be true. But as you can see, if you go back to, and that's a pretty good result, because if you go back to the debug function, as you can see, only that weapon pistol is referenced, which means that that reference is validated, but it's giving us to be the value of false because we haven't set it to be true. But just by the reason of being validated, that means that we have the access. We basically have accomplished something really, really good. So all we need to do right now is just get that reference of set equip on hands. We're going to equip it to be true. And in any case, if that's the pistol, then in case what we've picked up is the pistol, then we're going to set the reference to be here. And in case that's the actually, you don't need to set it right now. Just set it before. I think it doesn't make sense to set it after. Game designer said, "Can you explain how to make? Can you explain how make pickup everywhere?" What do you mean? Do you mean pick up everything? Can you explain how to pick up everything? How to pick up everywhere? How to pick up? How to pick up? All right, let's just see if that's going to work. So as soon as you press play and press F, and as you can see here, the BP weapon pistol, which is the one that we have right now, on hands is true, which means we have successfully made it to work. But as soon as we drop it, it doesn't get to be false. And that's because we have to also set that up. So let's go to the G code, and so as soon as we make it drop, we're going to get the weapon master to be off. The weapon is equipped, on hands is off. It's false. All right. But now if you pick up the weapon and if you try to holster it, as you can see, we should be able to have another variable in here. So we're going to have to try to create another debug value, which it could be after this one. So no, it's not true. I mean, pick up from anywhere, from the floor or table. You mean how to pick up a weapon regardless of the height and the size? Regardless if the weapon is on the table or on the floor. So this is 14. This is going to be 15, 16, 17. Yeah, this is getting very complex. Let me just make a macro out of this because it's a bit of a mess. All right, let's create a macro. So this new macro is going to be called weapon debug macro. Weapon pistol, object reference. Yeah, but collapsing nodes, collapsing nodes could make it worse because it's not only one reference. Now the macro allows you to basically make it scalable so that it's easier for us to just copy and paste those macros because the nodes could, if you collapse it to a node and then just copy it, the changes that you make for the collapsed node, let's say, for example, if you want to change the print string to be here, yeah, it actually works. But if you want to make this changes to be automatically, the code that is inside here automatically, let's say I want to add, let's say, I don't know, this set actor location, for example. So those changes are only going to be for the node I've added that change to, but it's not going to be for the other ones. So you're gonna have to just keep like duplicating those and duplicating those as soon as you make a new change. And for the macros, the changes are automatically updated, so that you can just copy and paste without needing to duplicate every time. Just duplicate the time that you need to use them. So those changes to the macro that is going to be inside, the code that is going to be inside, they're going to be automatically updated as soon as you add a new node, like right here, set actor tick enabled. So those codes are going to be everywhere. Now for the key, we're gonna have to actually input the key as well. Also the name. So here's the name and the weapon equip, the variable type as well. I think we're gonna have to make it like this. So let's go to the weapon debug macro. I'm going to, you can choose any color if you'd like for the weapon macro, weapon debug macro. I think I'm going to choose the black one. The black one looks nicer. What's up? What up? What up? Say something. All right. Key 14. Pistol. All right. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and delete all this has rifle in hand. So as you can see, we can just copy the name of it. Has rifle in hands. So for the for this example, in here we're going to type has rifle in hands. And here is going to be has a rifle holstered. And it's always a good practice to just give it a space after the name. That's because if you don't give it a space, the code is going to be a little bit, the result that is going to be after this, after the name, is going to be very close to here. So always give it a space. And just remember the key day has to be different from each one. Right now we're just basically making a code so that we can debug the current weapon, the current kind of weapon that is holstered on the character. And which weapon is equipped on the character's hands. Take a rest. No. Outsider said, are you familiar with layer animation? No. Layer animation. Now the layer animation locomotion, I like it, and it has a unique way of locomotion. I pretty much like the layer animation. We could probably use some of the layer animations, such as reloading the weapon, shooting. They are pretty much good. But the locomotion itself in the layer system, it's very complex. I think it's more complex comparing to the ALS system. And I'd rather not touch it because in general, I think people look more to make locomotion systems such as the ALS and GASP, other than just making a third-person shooter. But I think it all depends on each person's, on each project needs. But what I've seen on LinkedIn, there are more people using maybe AGLS or ALS or GASP system. Most of them would say, hi, is there a limit to how many states we can implement on the character if we are not using motion matching, just ALS and state machines? They mean like how many states we can add? How many possible states we can add? I think there's no limit. You can just keep adding. How many states? They mean states in the state machine, you mean? Let me see the animation graph. Not here. Yeah, so when you usually create a state machine like this, you can create states. So of course the entry has to connect into a state. So that's the first state you have as the entry state. But you can add as many, I think you can add as many states as you want. There is no limit. Hopefully the engine doesn't crash, but you can add as many states as you want. Hopefully the engine doesn't crash. But is that what you mean? There's no limit. But in my Discord server, I talk about this. In the study section, you have, I think the study section is only allowed to premium members, but for the wrong way of doing this is just, you know, placing all the states into a single state machine for the whole locomotion, so you can add as many states, and it could be pretty much messy, as you can see right here. You have dodge lengthening, all the possible locomotion states of the character that the character can be at is in here. It's inside just one state machine. So as you can see, the state machine is probably called bases. And you have all the possible states, but as you can see, it's very it's not very performant, and it could be very, very glitchy to add all the states, all the possible character movements inside one single state machine. So the correct way of doing this would be something like this. Yeah, it would be something like this, as we're doing right now. If you go to here, as you can see, we have one state machine in here, and we only activate that state of the weapon pickup if we have the Boolean active. So as soon as that Boolean is disabled or off, we can switch back to the spine rotation cache, which is going to continue the other locomotion systems. But if you have to run or execute an animation such as dodge roll, you can do this using montages. There is no problem doing that. Maybe you want something more modular and dynamic, where you can control the exact time, of the play rate at runtime. How fast the animation plays at runtime. If you want to control that, then you're going to do it inside the animation graph. But if you have like a clear picture of where your project is going to go, if you have a clear picture of like which animation systems, which locomotions you're going to need for your project, you can pretty much decide what you're going to do if you want to place and execute the animation inside the animation graph, or inside the animation, inside the character logic, which you can just play a montage, or just simply play an animation if you need to. So as soon as I equip the weapon, as you can see, this variable is not updated. So we're going to update it right now. So we're going to go back to our weapon pickup drop holster logic. As soon as you press Q, we're going to equip the weapon. Where did I put the BP weapon master? We're going to set the equip state on hands and set the holstered, weapon holstered. And set this should be true. So as soon as we press to equip the weapon back, we're also going to have to set that state. So as soon as you pick up, the states, they all update. So has pistol equipped is true, has pistol holstered is false. So as soon as I press Q, as you can see, has pistol holstered is true, and has pistol equipped is false. But as soon as I press Q again, this state here is executed, so I'm just going to copy this and then place this in here. But I think this is going to be after it has completed, it has blended out. And this, we come to a part where it's going to be a lot more complex to deal with, because yeah, we're gonna have to check it out. We're gonna have to check which exact weapon is equipped to the character's hand, and then save that reference maybe. Yeah, right now I'm gonna have to go because I'm gonna have to deal with some things in real life. So Great Brother said, can you make a project with me? Right now I'm not joining any projects, just working for companies. So I cannot help with that right now. So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I see you in the next one. I think in the next live session we're going to just finish the weapon holster and drop and pick up logic. As you can see right here, we have all the states, all the Boolean states ready in place. So if you go to the blueprints, where is it? Handgun? No, not handgun. Character blueprints. Weapon. Child. So as you can see on the weapon master, we have all the Booleans set up in here. And I think we're pretty much close to finish this implementation of the pickup, drop, equip, and holster. I think they are those states. And we also have to set up the states, the single state of the Boolean, to check if the last weapon equipped, to identify basically which was the last equipped weapon that the character had. So yeah, that's going to be it. And